2.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2018.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikunle Amosun.
You're welcome to Celebration Television News Desk. I am Nicholas Akosile Walter. Here are the news making the headlines. Intimacy is a state of being full of God, says Apostle Johnson Suleiman. Zimbabwe receives 200,000 doses of China Sinopharm COVID-19 vaccine. Myanmar coup and troops on the street as fears of crackdown mounts. Hope PSB Bank begins free NIN registration. Ndidi sets new EPL records. Please stay with us as we bring you details of the news after the short break. You're welcome back and thanks for joining us. Now the news in details. Intimacy is a state of being full of God, says Apostle Johnson Suleiman. It was a glorious time having believers come together in Omega Fire Ministries during the week for an annual celebration, Ebenezer, an event that features the ministry's 17th anniversary. Meanwhile, this an event lasted for almost a week, with yesterday being the Thanksgiving service. With gratitude to God, the apostle preached on what he titled Walking in Preservation. And since the beginning of the year, the apostle had been teaching on the series of impact and his affiliate, which is the theme of the year, Preservation and Generational Impact, producing tremendous testimonies. Moving forward, the lesson from the service was centered on preservation, which is stated that preservation is liberation from satanic excesses and demonic harassment, and that believers are not supposed to encounter evil or die cheaply like unbelievers.
Preservation is exemption from aggression. Preservation is exemption from aggression. Preservation is prevention from when God decides to keep you from expiring. The preservation is uncommon escape from wickedness. When God brings you out, provides a way. So preservation can also be called escape. Can also be called escape. Can also be called escape. In Job chapter 1 verse 15. Job chapter 1 verse 16. Job chapter 1 verse 17. Job chapter 1 verse 19. When Job had an outburst, there were different servants that came to him. One will come and say, this happened to your family, but I alone am escaped to tell you. The other comes and said, this happened to your family, I alone am escaped to tell you. The other comes and said, this happens to you, I alone am escaped to tell you. Psalm 124 and verse 7. He said, our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowler. The snare is broken and we have.
In conclusion, he added, the preservation is triggered by intimacy with the Creator as a result of dwelling in His presence and having the consciousness of His coming. Indeed, the week was exceptionally exciting as the Sunday service was concluded by Pastor Enoch Adeboye, who blessed the congregation with words of prayers and prophetic declaration. Meanwhile, for the year's crusade tag Generational Impact 2021, Apostle Johnson Suleiman embarks on a dual invasion as he visits Taraba State today, 15th through 16th February, and Kebbi State, 18th through 19th February 2021. Moving forward quickly, Okonjo Iweala said to be first woman named WTO boss. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala looks set to be confirmed today as the first woman and first African leader of the beleaguered World Trade Organization, a neo-paralyzed institution desperately needing a kickstart. The World Trade Organization has called a special General Council meeting at which the former Nigerian finance minister and World Bank veteran is expected to be formally selected as the global trade body's new Director General. U.S. President Joe Biden strongly swung behind her candidacy shortly after the only other remaining contender, South Korean Trade Minister Yoo Myung-hee, pulled out. The organization is also eager to conclude the drawn-out process, having been leaderless since Brazilian career diplomat Roberto Azevedo stepped down last August, a year ahead of schedule. The process of picking one of 8 candidates to succeed him had been expected to wrap up by November, but the administration of former U.S. President Donald Trump blocked the consensus to appoint Okonjo-Iweala. The 66-year-old will not be at the World Trade Organization's Geneva headquarters for today's visual session, and it is not known when she will take up her duties. In another development, quickly, NCDC announces 520 new COVID-19 cases in Nigeria. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has reported 520 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of infected people in the country to 146,184. Reports had it that with the 520 fresh cases in the last 24 hours, Nigeria records the lowest single-day rise in its tally in 1 week. The health agency also registered 5 additional COVID-19 deaths due to complications from the virus, bringing the country's total death to 1,752. It started that the new cases were reported in 18 states and the Federal Capital Territory. It said about 439 people had been successfully treated with COVID-19 and were discharged, raising the total number of recoveries in the country to 120,838. And coming from around Africa quickly, Zimbabwe receives 200,000 doses of China's Sinopharm COVID-19 vaccine. Zimbabwe has received its first batch of 200,000 doses of Sinopharm donated by the Chinese government in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. Zimbabwe receives its first delivery of 200,000 doses of Sinopharm today at the Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport in the capital city, Harare. The Chinese coronavirus vaccine is donated by the East Asian nation's government, while another batch of 600,000 doses purchased by Zimbabwe is expected to arrive early next month. This shipment from China comes after prior vaccine dose deliveries to Egypt and Equatorial Guinea. Vaccination priority will be given to frontline workers such as health professionals and immigration agents working at borders, according to the rollout plan in Zimbabwe. And still coming from around Africa, the Republic of Congo refugee named as first black rector of University of Edinburgh. Deborah Kayembe fled her home in the Democratic Republic of Congo 16 years ago as her life was under threat after she helped expose a gun-running militia group. She settled in the United Kingdom, where she worked as a human rights lawyer and about to become the first black rector of the University of Edinburgh. However, she said she and her daughter have been the victims of racism in Scotland. Instead of confrontation, she chose to adopt a message of tolerance and dialogue with the perpetrators of the abuse. Not long after the incident, Kayembe's daughter returned home from school and cried because she had been asked by a teacher to perform a slave dance in front of her classmates. After confronting the school, Kayembe petitioned the Scottish Parliament to urgently address racism in education in Scotland. Her actions caught the eye of the university. She says in her new role, she wants to attract the brightest students and to help the university recover from the coronavirus pandemic. She has not returned to the Republic of Congo since she fled, but she hoped to use her position as rector over the next 3 years to promote the best education for Africa too. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll bring you updates from the United Kingdom. Please don't go anywhere.
I will be in Kebbi for Impact 2021. Kebbi State will witness the move of God like you've never seen before.
As I see you now, your pastor is planning to send you to Cameroon.
God is going to be moving mightily. There's going to be signs, wonders, and it's going to be impact.
And miracles everywhere. For 18 years, this woman could not walk except with the aid.
Let her walk now. Walk now. Look at another crutches again inside the crowd.
God is going to be reaching out to us mightily, and there's going to be a great move of the Spirit of God.
Date 18th and 19th February 2021 by 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. daily. Generational Impact 2021 Apostle Johnson Suleiman, happening at Filin Sukua Horse Race Field, Benin Kebbi, Kebbi State, Nigeria. For inquiries, please call. Grace is available.
Welcome back and thanks for joining us. Now, updates from the United Kingdom. New phase begins after first vaccine target hit in England. The COVID-19 vaccine rollout in England has entered a new phase after the Prime Minister said the most vulnerable groups had all been offered a jab. Wales has also offered the vaccine to those top 4 priorities group, and the Prime Minister is expected to say the target has met across the UK. In total, more than 15 million people in the United Kingdom have actually had their first dose. The rollout in England is now being officially expanded to over 65s and younger people at risk groups. It is 69 days since the United Kingdom began its mass vaccination program and 6 weeks since Boris Johnson said he hoped with a fair wind in their sails to be able to offer a first dose to the 4 priority groups by 15th February. That meant vaccinating all elderly care homes residents and their carriers, everyone over 70, all frontline health and social care workers, and everyone with a condition that makes them extremely vulnerable to the virus, a total of 14.6 million people. Mr. Johnson said it was an extraordinary feat to have been able to offer a vaccine to all these groups in England and Wales, and the country can go forward with great confidence. But while the UK's vaccination rate is third in the world, behind only Israel and the United Arab Emirates, there have been reports that some people in priority groups, including those who are housebound, are still waiting for their first dose. As well as the over 65s, the next groups to be offered the vaccine is the estimated 7.3 million people aged 16 to 65 with a range of health conditions that put them at risk from the virus. It includes people with chronic heart disease, liver disease, kidney disease, diabetes, severe lung conditions, severe learning disabilities, and mental health conditions such as schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. Adult carers of disabled people with these conditions and younger adults in care homes are also part of this group. The rollout will then be extended to the remaining over 50 age groups with the aim of offering a first dose to another 17.2 million people before the end of April. Now, more updates from Asia. Myanmar coup troops on the street as fears of crackdown mounts. Small groups of protesters have begun to gather in Myanmar despite the armored vehicles which have appeared on the streets of several cities. The military's heightened presence is the latest sign of potential crackdown position to the coup it carried out on the 1st of February. Hundreds of thousands of people have taken part in protests over the last 10 days, demanding democracy be restored. They also want the elected leaders released from detention. It was reported today that civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi would be detained for the 2 days, according to her lawyer, Kin Mwanzo. She was rounded up with other members of the government in the early hours of 1st of February, but her detention was due to end today. Her party was elected in a resounding victory last November, but the military had alleged voters' fraud without providing proof. Now on business news. Hope PS Bank begins free NIN registration. Hope PS Bank, a subsidiary of Unified Payment Services Limited and a digital bank, says it has commenced free national identification number registration for Nigerians, including its customers, in all designated enrollment centers located in its regional offices across the country and head office in Lagos. The managing director of Hope PS Bank, Mr. Ayotunde Kukmoni, disclosed this during a press conference to announce the NIN enrollment exercise in Lagos. He said the bank was delighted to partner with the federal government through National Identity Management Commission on the NIN registration exercise, noting that this would afford Nigerians the opportunity to register and capture their biometrics seamlessly and quickly. He explained that Nigerians could register online through the bank's platform and thereafter visit the nearest enrollment center to capture biometrics. The managing director said the bank had intensified efforts to rapidly expand the number of enrollment centers, as it was currently recruiting thousands of agents that will set up centers for enrollment all across the country. While commending the federal government through the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy for expanding and extending the registration footprints to the bank, he assured Nigerians of its readiness to make the registration easier through the platform. And still on business news, Emirates extends Nigerian passengers ban till March. Emirates Airlines has extended the ban on passenger services from Nigeria to Dubai until March 10, 2021. It said travelers from both Abuja and Lagos would not be accepted for travel prior to the date, according to a statement issued by the airline. Also, the carrier warned that passengers who had been to or connected through Nigeria in the last 14 days will not be allowed entry into the United Arab Emirates. Emirates noted that flights from Dubai to Lagos and Abuja will continue at the normal schedule as it urged travelers to contact the airline's customer center or their booking agents in terms of rescheduling. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority had on February 5, 2021 barred the courier from Nigeria, alleging flouting of COVID-19 protocols as well as the introduction of rapid antigen tests as a requirement for Dubai travelers against the Nigerian government's negative PCR requirements. Meanwhile, the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, has received the certificate of accreditation from the Airport Council International in its Airport Council International Airport Health Accreditation Program. Evidence was presented by the Murtala Mohammed International Airport and reviewed by the Airports Council International, which showed that providing a safe airport environment was its topmost priority. We'll go on a short break. We'll come back. We'll bring you sports news, exciting one at that, as Ndidi sets new Europa League record. Stay with us.
There is a wave of preservation coming to Taraba.
Life, power, in the mighty name of the Lord Jesus. Drop him, leave him, walk, go, let him go, go. Glory!
Generational Impact Taraba 2021 with Apostle Johnson Suleiman.
Be my guest as I come to Wukari, Taraba State on the 15th and 16th of the month of February.
Pastor Courage, clean that man's eye. Just clean his eyes. Clean it, clean it. Your right hand. Let him follow you to me. This way. Whoa! Glory!
God is going to be reaching out to us mightily, and there's going to be a great move of the Spirit of God.
Number 17. Is that your house? Yes, sir. 26 plus 26. How old are you?
15th and 16th February 2021, 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. GMT+1. Happening at GSS Wukari along Ibi Road, Wukari, Taraba State, Nigeria. Also, there will be the state church dedication by Apostle Johnson Suleiman. For inquiries, please call 0706 854 6314 or 0703 289 5750.
I'll see you in Taraba.
O land, be positioned to hear the word of the Lord.
You welcome sports news. Ndidi sets new English Premier League records. Midfielder Wilfred Ndidi has set a new record in English Premier League after he made 19 ball recoveries during Leicester City's 3-1 win over champions Liverpool. The Nigerian, who was named the man of the match as the Foxes came back from a goal down to overcome the Reds, surpassed his 18 ball recoveries feat of last December against Tottenham Hotspur. It was Leicester's 14th Premier League win of the season, which elevated them to second in the table. Ndidi, who made his 17th English Premier League appearance against the visitors, who was outstanding and completely shut down Thiago Alcantara. He also had a hand in Harvey's Ben's goal in the 85th minute. In another sports news, quickly, Nigerians hail Usman after a knockout win over Bonds. Nigerians have hailed Ultimate Fighting Championship welterweight champion Kamaru Usman after his impressive third-round knockout win over former teammate Gilbert Bonds at the UFC 258 in Las Vegas. Usman overcame a first-round scare to pull off one of the performances of a night to dispatch of Bonds in the third round after dropping the Brazilian with a strong right-hand jab before raining several punches on his helpless challenger. The win was the third defense of his welterweight title after previously seeing off Colby Covington and George Masvidal in 2019 and 2020 respectively. The win takes Usman's win to 18 in 19 fights with just one loss. That has brought us to the end of the news on Celebration Television News Desk. In case you're just joining us, here's the news headlines recap. Intimacy is a state of being full of God, says Apostle Johnson Suleiman. Zimbabwe receives 200,000 doses of China's Sinopharm COVID-19 vaccine. Myanmar coup, troops on the street as fears of crackdown mounts. Hope PS Bank begins free NIN registration. Ndidi sets new English Premier League record. And quickly we have photo of the day. So as you watch right now, could you please interpret? I just want to get an interpretation of that photo you're just seeing on that screen right now. What does it depict? You can drop your comment on our social media platform. On Facebook, we have Celebration TV, Instagram, My Celebration TV, Twitter, at My Celebration TV, YouTube, Celebration TV. Always remember that your positive contribution to the wellness of a society you find yourself or the organization you work defines your leadership mind. As an individual who knows what to do and do without expecting to be pushed, has bagged his ways to success. Be it known today that everything we do, think, feel, and believe either has a positive or negative effect on humanity and our national well-being. Be a part of nation building today. Thank you once more for staying with us on our news desk. I remain Nicholas Akosile Walter. Thank you. Amounted to 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor Ibikule Amosu